Hi, everybody. Have you ever been talked down to by your husband or your wife? Or have you ever done that yourself in your marriage? You found yourself in a position where you feel like maybe your husband or your wife is talking to you like him or her talks to the kids. Hi, my name's Kelly. I'm a pastor, police chaplain, and marriage coach. I'm the author of this great book, Turn It Up, How to Have the Lifelong Marriage That You Really Want. And I'm here today with another marriage tip for you. And the marriage tip is this: don't treat your spouse or talk to your spouse like one of your kids. You see, I hear this a lot from couples. Okay, actually, mostly ladies, sorry about this. I hear it a lot from husbands that sometimes my wife talks to me like one of the kids. So, sorry, ladies, that sounds like it's a little bit more of your issue and your challenge. Guys, we got lots of problems and issues and things that we do wrong too, but I think here's a mistake that a lot of wives make, especially if you have kids. In other words, you treat your husband like one of the kids. I had one couple tell me that what he was struggling with in the marriage, what the husband was struggling with, is when his wife goes into mom mode. And I'm like, mom mode? What is that? He said, well, basically, she starts giving orders. She starts telling the kids what to do. All right, kids, we got to go, to school now. So you got to get dressed, and you got to brush your teeth, and you got to clean up after breakfast, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And then she'll turn to me, and she'll do the same thing. Hey, honey, you need to do this, you need to do that. And she starts giving orders. She starts telling him what to do. So you see what's happening is that you have a parent and a child. And that works great when you've got young kids, because the kids are under your authority and they need your instruction and they need your help. But when you're in a marriage and you have one person kind of speaking down to the other person, it doesn't work. What you need to do is balance the equation and speak to each other like peers, like equals. You see, when you talk down to your husband or your wife, what you're doing is that you are becoming their mom or their dad. In that conversation, you act like their parent and you treat them like one of your kids. And what you're doing as well is that you are taking a position of superiority. Now, you may not mean to, but let me tell you, this is how it's landing for your husband or your wife. It's landing as if you're the expert, you're the teacher, or you're the boss, or you're the mom and they're one of the kids, because you're in this up-down, superior, inferior kind of conversation with them now, telling them what to do because you have all the answers and you know what needs to happen and they don't. So now, you're telling them what to do, and basically their option is to just, well, I guess I better just obey. Okay, so it really creates a difficult dynamic. And if you want to have a great marriage, what I would encourage you to do is the opposite of that, okay? And because when you're speaking down to your spouse, think about, what does that generally produce? Chances are it produces resistance. They start pushing back. Hey, I don't want to do it that way. Hey, I don't really want to do that. Or maybe what they do is they go into a passive aggressive mode. And the passive mode means that they say, okay, but then they don't do what you asked. Well, because you didn't ask, what you told them to do. Okay. So, or they get aggressive. So passive aggressive, passive is that, yeah, fine. And then they walk away. And you think that they're going to do what you asked or told them to do. But then they don't. So then now there's another problem, because what you wanted to have happen didn't happen. Okay? Aggressive mode means they start arguing with you. And so have you ever been in an argument with your spouse because you told them something to do? Okay, I would like you to think about what was your attitude. What were you trying? How were you acting? Were you speaking as an equal with that person? Or were you speaking as a superior person who's speaking down to an inferior person? Because if you are creating a very unhealthy dynamic that is going to cause you a lot of frustration, and it's not going to bring you closer. It's not going to help your marriage. And it's probably going to give you lots of problems and frustrations and headaches. So, what is the answer to this? Here we go. The opposite of speaking down to someone is to treat them like an equal. In other words, treat them like a responsible adult, the responsible adult that they are. A peer, someone at your same level, someone with whom you are able to forge a meaningful connection with. So here's a few thoughts on how to do this. What I want you to do is think about the word empower. I'm not here as the boss. I'm not here as the teacher or as the leader or as the mom or dad in our marriage. What I want to do is, however, empower you, and let's work together to address the issues in our home. Because maybe things are a mess. Maybe your husband does need to clean up after himself. But instead of just telling him, hey, stop being a fat slob and clean up after yourself, okay? There's a better way to do it. You want to treat him as a responsible adult who is at the same level as you. And the way you do that is to empower him. So how does that work? Well, number one, here's a few suggestions. I've got 7 suggestions. Number one, raise the issue or concern and ask for their input. Woo, this is huge. This, my friends, is worth watching this video. Why? Because instead of telling them what to do, you want to ask, hey, I think that our kitchen or our home is a mess. What do you think and that's the key word, my friends, what do you think we can do about it? Okay? And be open to their perspective. Be open to their ways of solving your problem or the problem that you're facing in your home. Now, you can number 2 is make suggestions, but don't give advice or tell them what to do. You see, what you want to agree on is the outcome and not the methodology or the path to get there. Okay? This is how good managers do it with their employees. And I don't want you to go into boss mode either. You want to be at the same level solving problems together in your home. So, but here's a suggestion on how to do that. Basically, is you say, well, here's an idea. Why don't we try this? Once again, you use the word we, or you could say, let's do this, okay? Because now you're saying, I'm going to do it too. In other words, we're equals at this. This isn't just your problem. This is our problem, okay? And then what you can do is make suggestions. Now, if he or she wants to do it differently, let them. It's not your place to tell them how. What you want to do, though, is agree on the outcome. Hey, you know what? When I come home from work, it would really be nice if the kitchen counters were cleaned up, if things weren't such a mess here at the home, in our home. And so, yeah, you're right. It would be nice to have this place cleaned up. Okay, now you've agreed on the what. Let them figure out the how on their own, and maybe even the when, okay? But you could also agree on the when. That is an important topic, as I've taught before on how to make a request. It's important to add in there by this time, by the time I get home from work, by Sunday night at the end of the weekend, would you please mow the lawn or whatever it might be. Number 3, of course, goes along with that, and that is to make requests and not give commands. Don't give orders. Resist the temptation to go into mom mode or dad mode or even boss mode. Okay? Well, I don't treat her like one of the kids. Maybe you treat her like your employee. Yeah, that's the same thing. Don't go into boss mode. You want to treat her as an equal. Number 4, create solutions together. How are we going to solve this? What do we need to do? How can we work on this together? Number 5, don't rescue them or bail them out if they fail. In other words, if your husband doesn't clean up after himself in the kitchen, don't come and do it for him. Let the stuff just pile up. And then say, hey, honey, we got a problem here. Okay, all the pots and pans and dishes and everything are all over the kitchen. I don't want to live this way. This is really stressful for me. What can we do about it? And hopefully he'll recognize, yeah, it is a mess and I kind of let things go and I got distracted and whatever. Okay, well, would you please clean it up? Okay, now what have you done? You've expressed the issue and concern and you've made a request. And hopefully they'll agree and say, yes, let's do that. Now, if they don't, well, that might be a bigger problem that needs another solution. But for today's topic, let me just suggest don't rescue or bail them out if they fail to follow through on the things that you agreed to do. Number 6, this is huge. Don't do things for them, do things with them. So maybe they need help with the task that you've asked them to do. But instead of doing it for them and then just taking it away from their thing, where now they can be sort of that lazy person who sits around on the couch watching TV all day. And I know your spouse probably isn't like that, but you see the picture that I'm painting, right? Okay, don't do things for them, do things with them. Hey, let's clean out the garage. In other words, let's do it together. Okay, that's way better than clean out the garage. Okay, so anyways, you get my point. And then, so that was number 6. Don't do things for them, do things with them. Number 7, be liberal with your appreciation and acknowledgement. Tell the person, your spouse, your husband or your wife, thank you. When they do a good job, acknowledge them for following through on this. Hey, I just want to let you know, I've noticed that the kitchen is a whole lot cleaner than it used to be. Just wanted to say thank you. Or, hey, that was great. Thanks for suggesting that. I never would have thought to do it that way. When you're brainstorming or going into problem solving mode and they come up with a great idea, hey, that was a really good idea. Or when it has a good outcome, maybe that's different from hey, thanks so much. I really appreciated your input. Hey, thanks for taking care of that. Thank you for following through on your idea. You see, those kinds of things really go a long way in helping your spouse work with you to create the happy home and the happy and joyful marriage that I believe you want and that God wants to give you. So that's my tip for today. Don't treat your spouse like one of your kids. Instead, treat them as an equal. Call out the greatness in them. Work together to make your home run well. And let's believe that God is going to bless you and bless your marriage. Hey, if you want other tips like this, please check out my website, turnitup.coach. You can get a copy of my book there, Turn It Up, How to Have the Lifelong Marriage That You Really Want. You can also see different other videos and articles at my website. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is called Turn It Up Marriage Advice. And I've got all my videos there that you can follow along and get some input on how to have a great marriage. And let's see what else. Oh, I've got a Facebook group as well that I would love to have you join us. And it's Turn It Up, a group about marriage and relationships. So those are the ways that you can get some more of this kind of input. May God bless you and may God bless your marriage.